Now we are moving on to round robin surface area, but I don't want this to be done in a round robin. I want it to be done individually. So I know that it's kind of hard to see the labels here at the top of the paper, so I'm going to write those in for you. Um, this is the picture, and it asks you to shade the base, which we know to do. This next one asks you to find big B, which is the area of the base. This next one asks you to find the perimeter or circumference of the base. And then this one asks you to find the lateral surface area. And this one asks you to calculate the total surface area. Okay, and each one of these are part of the formula. So what we're going to learn today is how to calculate the surface area using a formula. So first off, we need to start with our formula. Each one has a different formula depending on if you're trying to find the lateral surface area or the total surface area. So let's figure out what those formulas look like and where do we find them. Your substitute will pass out a 8th grade STAR mathematics chart, because now that you're doing 8th grade SEs, your formula chart looks a little different now. So here, if you notice, circumference was on your last one, area was on your last one, and volume. But now we have added Pythagorean theorem and we've added surface area, and that includes lateral and total surface area of prisms, pyramids, and cones. If you notice, those symbols that we went over earlier are now appearing on your formula chart. We have the big P, which represents the perimeter of the base, S, which represents surface area, and that's for both, but you need to know if you're dealing with lateral surface area or total. And then you have your H, which is the height of the prism or height of the pyramid. And remember, the height of the pyramid is always from the middle of the pyramid to the tip of the pyramid. And then you also have big B, which is familiar because we use that in volume, the area of the base. And then the L, which is the slant height. It's the height of the side of the pyramid. And so we use, which is also the height of the triangle face. Then we have radius, which we're familiar with, and pi, which we're familiar with. All right, so let's look back at our worksheet. So the first thing it tells us is to shade the base, because we have to know where the base is, because we can't find the perimeter of the base or the area of the base if we don't know where the base is. So I'm going to shade my triangles because there are two triangles, and this tells me that this is a triangular prism. So now my first step is to find which formula I need. I know that because I've shaded two bases, this is a prism, and this is asking me for lateral and total surface area. So those formulas that I'm going to use for a prism, I'm going to write it at the top of my paper. So if I'm using a prism, the lateral is S equals surface area equals perimeter times height, and then total is S equals perimeter times height plus 2 times the area of the base. Alright, so let's look at that formula. I need the area of the base first. So the area of the base, because it's a triangle, I'm going to use area equals 1/2 base times height, because our formula tells us that the area of a triangle formula is area equals 1/2 base times height. So in all actuality, this is now my big B. So half of the base is, well, let's go and fill it in. 1/2 times 5 times 4.33. And remember, these dots are multiplication. I'm going to do half of my base, which is 2.5. And I'm going to times that by 4.33. I'm going to come to the side so I can have enough space to work that out. Three times 5 is 15. 3 times 5 is 15 plus 1 is 16. 4 times 5 is 20 plus 1 is 21. I'm going to add my placeholder underneath because I'm starting at the 2. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 3 is 6. 2 times 4 is 8. And then I add what I have left. And then I count my numbers behind the decimal. 1, 2, and 3. So 1, 2, and 3. So my area of the base is 10.825. And this is now feet squared because I had just found the area of the base. Next, this is asking me to find the perimeter or circumference. Well, I would find the circumference if my base was a circle, but because my base is a polygon, I'm going to find the perimeter of the base. So I know that, well, first, they didn't tell me what my sides were, but I have tick marks here, and these tick marks indicate that all 3 sides are the same. So this is an equilateral triangle, and if the bottom is 5, that means the sides are 5 as well. So the perimeter is 5 plus 5 plus 5, which equals 15. So your perimeter, and you can write it like this as well, so I don't want to confuse you. Perimeter equals 15 feet. And remember, perimeter is never squared. It's always in single units. So now that I have my perimeter and my base, I can use my formula, which is above, to solve the problem. So for lateral surface area, the formula is S equals perimeter times height. And remember, this is the height of the prism, and the height of the prism is always between the 2 bases. So the perimeter, I found the perimeter. The perimeter is 15. The height is 13. So I'm going to times 15 by 13. I'm going to do that to the side. And I got 195 for that. So my lateral surface area is 195 feet squared, because remember, lateral surface area is always in units squared. So now I can find the total surface area. Get my papers organized. Now I can find the total surface area, and from the top here, I remember my formula was surface area equals perimeter times height plus 2 times the area of the base. So I've already found that here, so now I can do it over here. So S equals 15 times the height, which is 13, plus 2 times the area of the base, which is 10.825. And in this case, I'm going to allow you to estimate. So we can do 11 because of the numbers, and I want you to get the concept first. So now we do order of operations, which tells us to multiply from left to right. 15 times 13, we already knew that from this previous answer. 195 plus 2 times 11, which is 22. We want to add those 2 numbers together. 5 and 2 is 7. 2 and 9 is 11, and then 1 plus 1 is 2. So 217 feet squared. So the question you have to ask yourself, well, why is the total surface area more than the lateral surface area? Can someone answer that question for me? Whoever said it, I hope you're correct. The total surface area is more because the total surface area measures the area of the surface with all the faces and all the bases. The lateral surface area is the area of the surface without the bases. So we did not, when we did our lateral surface area, we did not worry about the bases. We only found those 3 rectangular faces, and that was the area of that part of the shape. Whereas the total surface area was the area including the 2 triangle bases. Now I'm going to give you some time to try this on your own, 2 questions. Try before you give up and think it's too hard. Please pause. Okay, so let's see how you got, or what you did. So first you should have shaded bases. So I want to find the area of the base. This is a square, so I can do side squared.
Teachers and students, please pardon this interruption, gentlemen. At the ringing of the bell, we're going to ask everyone to please exit the building as quickly as possible. If you ride the bus, head directly to your bus. If you walk home, please leave campus as quickly as possible. We need everyone where they're supposed to be after school today, clearing the campus as quickly as possible. Gentlemen, one additional announcement. Yearbooks are still on sale. Next Wednesday is the final day to purchase a yearbook. They are $25. We have a very special incentive that we're going to be announcing next week for those who purchase a yearbook, so you do not want to get left out. Teachers, also, if you have not ordered your yearbook, please make sure you do so before next Wednesday. If you have any questions or need a flyer or one of the order forms, they are in the main office. That's all of our announcements. Hope everyone has a great weekend. See you all back on Monday.
Okay, so we find our area of the base. Body is mixed. We find our area of the base. Our side is 16, so we'll have to square that. $16 squared means 16 times 16. So 256 is the area of the base. I'm in the middle of recording. You see how loud that is? So our big B is 256. So now we need to find the perimeter of the base, which is 16 plus 16 plus 16 plus 16, or we can do 16 times 4 because repeated addition is just multiplication. So 16 times 4 is 24. 4 times 1 plus 2 is 6. So our perimeter is 64. So now we need to find the lateral surface area, but now the figure has changed, so this is a new formula. This one was the formula for prisms. This one is for pyramids. So now we need to look on our formula chart and figure out, well, the lateral surface area for pyramids is S half, the surface area equals half the perimeter and the slant, which is the lateral slant, lateral height. So S equals 1/2 PL, and then the total surface area is 1/2 PL plus the base. So let's work that out. S equals 1/2 perimeter times the lateral height. Half the perimeter, which is 64, and then times the height, which is 24, and I'm talking about the slant here, the 24. So half of 64 is 32, and then 32 times 24. I'm going to come over here to the side and work it out. 768 is our lateral surface area. So now let's find out, well, what is our total surface area. And the good thing about this is all we need to do is take this part and plug it into here, because we already know that information. It's 768, and then we just want to add what we get for the base. So 768, does everyone follow me? This right here, 1/2 PL, is the same thing. This is what you just figured out here for the lateral surface area. We're just adding the base. So 768 plus 256. 8 and 6 is 14. 6 and 5 is 11. Plus 1 is 12. 2 and 7 is 9. Plus 1 is 10. So 1,024 centimeters squared is the total surface area. And then last, we want to find the surface area for and lateral for the cylinder. So I've already shaded the bases. We want to find the area of the base, which this is a circle. So big B is now pi r squared. We're going to estimate 3 times the radius, which is 3 because they give you the diameter. So half the diameter is 3 squared. 3 times 9, because 9 squared, or 3 squared is 9. And then 3 times 9 is 27 meters squared. And now we don't do the perimeter, we do the circumference of a circle. So the circumference, we have a diameter, so we can just do pi d, because the circumference is in reference to this long length here. We have the height between the two bases, but we don't have this length here. And this length is the length that wraps around the circle when it's actually folded up. So that we can actually calculate that to be the circumference of the circle instead of the perimeter. So we're going to estimate 3 times diameter, which is 3 times 6 equals 18 meters. So now that we have that, the cylinder has a different formula. So for lateral on your formula chart, we're going to write that down, 2 pi r times h. And then on the total, we're going to write down the same thing for lateral, but we're going to add 2 times the area of the base, because that's what pi r squared is. It's the area of the base, 2 pi r squared. All right. Or let's just call that big B. Call that big B. Okay. So lateral surface area, we have 2 pi r times h. So 2 times 3 times 3, because our radius was 3, times the height of the prism. And remember, the height is always between the two bases. So this is the height of 4 meters. Times 4. So then we multiply from left to right. 6 times 3 times 4. 18 times 4. 4 times 8 is 32. 33 plus 4 is 72. So and if you can't do that in your head, just multiply off to the side. 32 plus 4 is 72. Alright, so we can take this information and use it in our next formula, because the next formula is 2 pi r h plus 2 times pi r squared, which is just the area of the base. So we can use this information from here because we have that already. 72 plus 2 times the pi r squared, which we found out here, pi r squared, which is 27. So 2 times 27, I want to do that first because order of operations tells us to. 7 times 2 is 14. 2 times 2 is 4, plus 1 is 5. So now we want to add these two. 4 and 2 is 6, and 5 and 7 is 12. So 126 meters squared. And just to reiterate, notice how the total surface areas are always bigger than the lateral, because the lateral does not include the bases. It always excludes the bases. Alright? If this is too confusing for you, because I know that this was a lot, you don't have to use the formula. Always remember, you can use your conceptual understanding. Your conceptual understanding is find the area of each face, each different face and base, and then add them together. That's what you learn first. So whichever is easier for you, you will still get the same answer. Some of you are better at the formula than you are at the conceptual understanding. But either one, you get the same answer, and it'll be okay because practice makes perfect.